a really good weekend. I did I did nothing, no thing. However, I did everything in that I watched my behavior very, very closely. And I also kind of did a little bit of deep, um, specific thinking about like first principles about what was going on inside. So, okay, I need to gear up my brain because yesterday it was like last night. It was so okay. Let me just play around with this. Okay, any questions? So why do I talk about the circle? You know, why do I use the circle? Me personally, why do I find that it's so helpful? Well, so I'm gonna just draw out what's in my head. That's a person. He's got a he's got his brain here, yeah. Now, this person may be able to build, computers or rocket ships externally. So human beings, nowadays have been able to create so much externally, technically, but inside that head, hopefully you can see the screen okay. I'm going to get one of those ones where I stand in front of it and I can draw on it. It's sort of like the whole screen. But for now, so as a human being, we human beings have created all this technology. As individuals, inside our head, inside here, in our internal psychological structure, the how our minds and the self and our psychology is, has not changed for millions of years. Fact. There's this internal psychological structure has not changed in millions of years. Now, technologically wise, it's gone like that, right? And knowledge. Let's just let's say knowledge. So I was consulted on an issue. I was consulted on an issue with someone to do with an organization that was being extremely difficult, and this person has got like a PhD. The particular person who's causing the problem, he's got a PhD, and the knowledge is like that. Self-awareness or wisdom is sort of hasn't changed in millions of years, possibly down there. So wisdom is understanding the self. This technology and everything is created by the intellect, which is a part of the whole thing. But intellect is put up as this foolproof, everything is, people with high intellect, high knowledge understand themselves, but they don't. In probably there's an inverse, like the more someone has knowledge, the less wise they are. Not always. I've known some very wise people who have a lot of knowledge, but the two don't necessarily go together. So we have human beings, right? And human beings haven't changed. So inside ourselves, inside the mind, we have every single possible conditioning there is of humankind. So you could say that humankind conditioning is is like the blockchain. So in Bitcoin, I think in every block, there's every transaction that's ever happened. So in the humankind's conditioning, there's everything that's ever happened. Okay, and that hasn't changed in millions of years. And so we become individualized and separate from each other based on this human conditioning. So we become individuals. So I'm British. You support Manchester United. I'm a Muslim. I'm spiritual. I'm this. I'm that. And so I'm Republican, Democrat. We individualize ourselves down, and we've had a massive increase in knowledge for sure, right? We have more knowledge today, and it's getting exponentially faster. However, it's pouring into this hard drive of the mind, but there's no understanding of the self. So the self is running rampant. Okay, so we're individuals. Okay, and this hasn't changed in millions of years. And what is the problem? I'm trying to walk this through really for myself a little bit. Now, so we have all this technology. However, our society, which is a reflection of our psychological structure, because it's our psychological structure and our conditioning that creates both all the technology, but also all of society is built upon that. You can write down, yeah, Demi's just saying systems have not changed either, e.g. school. I was getting to that because that's where we're working on the sort of what is the project that we're working on, and it really fundamentally comes down to this. So our society is competitive. It's all about status, achievement, competition. It's brutal. So, there's a kid he's put into school. He has to suddenly, and I know this here because I was talking to a mother and a child over the weekend. There's this girl, she's like 8. She already has overwhelming amounts of homework. 2 hours every night. She's at school all day, 2 hours every night, and then she has to do homework on the weekend. And she's scared. She's anxious. She's not sleeping. She wakes up. She's crying. It's brutal. Why is it brutal? Because she's competing against all the other kids in her class. And that's why I say it's brutal, because you can't just do what you want. You're forced to do what the system requires of you so that you do well in your exams, so you get a job, and so that you get achievement, status, position. You're pushed into this system, yeah? And this girl who's 8 played a game on the weekend with my 2 girls and said, oh, Bo, so Bo's 3, Bo, you need to know these letters so you can get a gold star. So otherwise you're going to get told off and you won't do well at school and get your exams, and then you won't get a job. That was the game. I was there listening. I was like, fuck. 8 years old, already conditioned. The mother's going to take her out of school, by the way. But can you see how my 2 girls are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Grades and stars and what's this? So I could feel there was a creep a little into my kids were like getting into that system. So this brutal achievement. Write down some words for me. Let's just see if you're there. Okay. So yeah, Claudia says everything is falling apart. A lot of people are aware of it. Okay, there's another thought about this society, right? So we have this society. You can write down some words. It's like achievement, brutal, status, winning at all costs. And let's call this the ham. I know a lot of teachers that are leaving the schools, yeah, because of that and starting new stuff. Yeah. The system's antiquated and broken. But let's just call this, it puts kids on the hamster wheel. And and you guys are on this hamster wheel. You've been conditioned already, all of you, and you know that. So, to achieve and compare. And maybe some of you are seeing it and I'm seeing it also, but it's very strong. And this creates this brutal, and it's violent. Why is it violent? Well, you've got to all costs win, beat others. You're taught at school to compete and destroy others, and then the players who win, or and the sports people who are the best, the champions, they're the most. They beat everyone, they destroy everyone. So you could say that this is why we have wars, constant wars. Well, the whole society is built on violence, forcing, brutal, and fear. Like, everyone's fearful, right? Can you see what I've done there? It's like the conditioning is this. This is how we're conditioned on this hamster wheel. We've got to be like this, like this, like this. And it creates wars. Okay. Let's see if okay. And so then all this conditioning creates fear. Would you agree? You're at school, you're like, shit, everyone's competing, you got to be the best. And I know people who are the best, and they're like scared, and because they're going to lose everything, and the people are trying to get them, and if you're not going to win, you're scared that you're going to lose. Yeah. Okay. So Ivan agrees. Laws and rules to control, 100%, and we control by fear. Stay in the class. Like, just imagine if there was no fear in the classroom. What would kids do? Well, they would fucking do whatever they wanted, right? They would their own authority, but we make them fearful. And there's the fear of God as well. The religions have always used, if you do that, you won't go to heaven, you go to hell. That's fear-based, right? So we've got fear, conditioned fear. So we're all fearful. And then the other thing is that we're fearful of the unknown. Would you agree? Like, we're scared of dying. We're scared of what's coming. We're scared of this society that's breaking down. We're scared of what's going to happen with wars, with the uncertainty. We're scared. So we're scared of the known, and we're scared of the unknown. And now I have my neighbor doing a bit of, hopefully you won't hear that too much. So we're scared of the known, and we're scared of the unknown. Okay. That no one disagrees with. So we're scared of the known, and we're scared of the unknown. We're all trying to get off the hamster wheel. We're trying to exit the hamster wheel. Is there something other than this? Is there something that my billionaire client, that he has all the money in the world and he's so unhappy? He's looking for why am I not happy winning on this hamster wheel? And then I have others who are not winning or perceived to be winning, and they're not happy either. So no one's happy and everyone's scared. Is there an alternative? Is there a way to change this? That is the question. I've been trying to answer that for most of my life. Is there another way? Well, this is where we get to the circle, the hamster wheel. We have had religion, spiritual guides, authority for thousands of years telling us that if we follow this path and contort ourselves to follow the rules given by someone either thousands of years ago or someone now, that by following those rules we will be happy, or we will gain something at the end, we'll find truth. And there's two things there if you really think about it. So we've got thousands of years of people. Well, one, it doesn't work. Okay. And it needs an authority. When someone tells us what to do, either a book or whatever, it gives us something that we feel less uncertain. It gives us hope. It gives us something that feels more concrete. However, that comes with a side effect. I know because I've done it, is that you feel safe and more secure and everything, but you have to follow someone else's rules. You're not understanding yourself. You become you're like a second-hand person. You're following someone else's rules. Okay, if you really watch that closely, and it does its role in making you feel safer and more certain, because we're so scared of the uncertainty. If we follow this way that someone else has given us. However, the other thing is, truth is not a path. Any path that you follow is dead. There's no life there. Okay, so any path, they've given us religions, everything for many thousands of years. We have not changed at all psychologically. We have not changed. And when you have faith, and this, I know some of you have faith, I'm just talking, I'm trying to look at it, and it might be that it works for you, and that's fine. But anytime that you have to believe in a system and have faith in it, then you will defend that system. Like you have to defend. If you have faith in something and someone questions it, you're going to have to defend it. And that creates violence. It has been shown throughout the centuries that religions are the ones that war the most, which is ironic, right? But it's the truth. So we can't look to someone else to find the answers for us. Now, is there a way to change our psychology and to change the world that's so effing ugly and violent and wars and greed? And is there a way? Well, I know some of you are saying Bitcoin. Yeah, but it does change us. It is going to change society. But there's a more important thing. Can we get off the hamster wheel? So whenever we try and shape ourselves or externally, Orvin says something quite right. Religion helps so regarding the fear of the unknown. 100%. 100%, I know that. And the fear of the unknown it's terrible. It's really scary. So I understand that. Yeah, and Gisele says the system is operating in a way that teaches us to be stuck on these hamster wheels. Yes. Now, is that by design? I have friends who will say that it was all designed to keep us enslaved by the top elite. I don't know. And Demi says fear of unknown equals anxiety, and anxieties going off the Now, let's take, for instance, achievement. If we try and gain this hamster wheel of achievement and losing, let's say. And so I've been there all my life trying to achieve, and I've achieved, but it's never enough, and I always feel lost. So that's the nature of the hamster wheel. The nadir, in Buddha said nadir, zenith. He worked it out. Zenith, nadir. The more you try and shape yourself based on the mind, you shape the opposite. It increases the opposite. That is a fact, and it's up to you to see that if you want to. So I can escape this and go, you know what? I'm going to go live in a cave, but I'm still trying to achieve something by doing that. It's an escape. I could become a yogi. I could grow a beard and become homeless. And I know people who've done that. They've given everything up. But you're trying to escape, but you're still trying to shape, yourself to achieve happiness, because it's based in the central. It's a central planning system. And anytime you try, and so let's say a client comes to me and go, oh, I just want to be happy. I want to achieve happy. I'm going to give up everything to be happy. So you're still actioning inside the system. I'm going to give up everything and then I'm going to be happy. It can't work. Yeah, by trying to get out of the hamster wheel, you could escape from the system controlling you. Yeah, it's like you go, but it actually reinforces the system, and that's why you get quite a few gurus with massive beards that they reinforce their ego, their identity. Oh, look at me! Look at my identity. I'm so I've given everything up, but it's still coming from inside the mind. Okay, there's only one way off this. Well, there's ways to escape. Is what are the things that make the most money? Drugs, alcohol, movies, used to be books. So drugs, alcohol, sex, work. That's the way off this. What are the things what's the biggest industry? It's those industries. Why? Because they're so necessary. And I would also say a way off this is religion, because it helps with the fear. And these help with the fear and the pain. So we start looking for safety and pleasure. Understandable, 100%. Or, and I'm closing up on this one, and this is the difficult thing, is the only way to change the psychology that's been there for a million years is, first of all, we have to know it. What is the psychology that drives me? Okay, I have to know what that is. If I don't know what it is, and I can't identify it, let's say, and know, and you get to understand what's in this hard drive, the whole of humanity, by observing yourself in relation to others. So if I go live in a cave, I can't know what's in my conditioning, because there's nothing really externally to trigger it. So I could go on Twitter, and everything that bothers me is in me. It's in my conditioning. So the number one thing you have to do if you want to change the world is to take responsibility, because you have all of this and you've added to all of the fear, greed, violence, anxiety, everything, jealousy, because we have it inside of us. So if we try and change the world using our minds, we create the opposite. World Economic Forum, freedom for everyone, slavery for everyone, the World Bank and the WHO, end poverty. Oh shit, they've created poverty. The education system, let's educate the kids. Oh shit, we've de-educated them. We've made them stunted and retarded. Okay, so you have to observe yourself, you have to observe yourself to know what's in it. Take full responsibility for everything within inside of you that's out there, and that if you want to change the world, you change yourself. It is the only way, because you're part of the blockchain. Everything on you is within you. If you try and change others, you create the opposite. So there's the only way is non-doing. The only way is via non-doing observation. And observing yourself is difficult. But it is possible. And you might go, yeah, but Rob, if I observe this and I lose this, then I won't achieve anything and I become a lazy bum. It's not how it works. But you have to watch that fear of being a lazy bum because it's part of the hamster wheel, this deep conditioning. Totally counterintuitive. I didn't, yeah, I could have done that better, but that's the best that I could do this morning. Okay. And yeah, and Yolanda said, the more you try to shake, can you repeat about the Buddha Zenith? So the Nadir and Zenith, the more you try and improve yourself, the Zenith, the more you create the opposite. So my experience with that is, the more I want to be healthy, like, there's just eating normally, but the more I try and be healthy, or clients try and be healthy, then they usually become less healthy. The more people try and get money for freedom so that they're free, the money enslaves them. It just depends on the reason why you're doing it. So if you're trying to improve yourself so that because you're worried about dying, then you start to attract things that make you more likely to die. It's just the way it is, okay? So we have the whole of human conditioning within inside of us. It hasn't changed in millions of years. Why is that? Well, it's weird because we've had all these people teaching us what to do, but it's never changed us, never. And in fact, and I'm not having you go at anyone who's religious, but I'm just saying that the foundations that were created, these huge like industries of religion that are created to try and help us to change, well, they haven't changed us. And they may make us kinder, but I would say that if you can see children who are not conditioned to a certain degree, who are free, they're kind. They don't have that hamster wheel. The kid who was conditioned at school was trying to tell my children, you need to get this right so you can get the gold star. Otherwise, you're not going to get a job. Fear, brutal. And my kid's like, what the fuck? Didn't say that. All right, let's go to the lines.